Hey everybody, it's Julie, Kansas City girl in a Colorado world. This is Flosstube number 31. Today is Monday, November 12th. And I have, is it a lot? I don't know. I think I've got several whips and a couple of finishes. One thing you may be shocked to see is that I have almost no haul. I mean, just minuscule amount. So, but the haul I got was pretty epic. So, why don't we start with that? Why not? It'll just take a second. So, in my last video, I had mentioned the Color and Cotton Floss of the Month subscription that I signed up for, which I don't have yet. It should be coming for November. Like my subscription will start with November. And I think she ships it like around November 15th or so. So that'll be coming. But I talked about how I signed up for that because I felt like I had really missed out on the mystery box that they made, that they put out for Halloween. And so I had seen a couple of people who received it, posted pictures, did an unboxing, and I was like, I want that. But, you know, it's too late, you know, whatever. I'll move on with my life. But I signed up for the Floss of the Month so that I wouldn't miss out in the future. Well, one of my viewers contacted me and she was like, look, I got the box and I really don't think I'm gonna use anything in it. Or, I mean, maybe like she liked a couple things, but like overall it just wasn't her style or whatever. And she's like, so, you know, do you want to buy my box from me? And I was like, like, yes and no, because I really shouldn't spend the money, but I really want it. So, I decided, you know, I would just treat myself. To a little something. So I got the box. Okay. So I'm not going through a whole unboxing because y'all have been there, done that, whatever, right? Gorgeous, beautiful threads, 2 beautiful linens, finishing fabric, amazing needle minder, scissors. It's mine now. It's all mine. So that was almost my one and only purchase. I also did end up impulsively buying a pattern and joining in on a sal. And I will show you that when I get to my whips. So yeah, I bought the Halloween box and I bought one pattern. Okay. So that's not that bad, really. Let me show you my finishes because I got some finishes. So I had, I don't remember if, I cannot remember if I showed this in my last video as a whip or if I started it like right after my last video. I can't remember. This is a pattern by Hands to Work. It's called My Favorite Primitive Stitching Bags. And I picked this up at the craft box for $2.25. And I wanted to stitch that little witch. How cute, right? So again, I can't remember if I showed you this as a whip last time or not, but whatever, I stitched it. I used DMC. I think I used all the called for DMC except for like one color I didn't have, so I just used one that was like almost the same. I stitched this on 36 count mystery linen that I believe, and this is just a guess, I believe it's Lakeside Linens Vintage Light Exemplar, but it was like an unmarked remnant that I bought at the craft box, but just based on having seen that fabric before, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And I was going to actually finish this as this cute little bag, Whew, sorry for the glare. But then I stitched it up and it was actually way bigger than I thought it would be. And I was like, oh, I don't think I want to make that into a bag. I'm not feeling that. So I just did a flat finish with some batting. And here it is. And I think it's pretty cute. I did struggle with this fabric. I really struggled to get this like even. I mean, like, I don't know if I should point this out to you. It looks fine like this, but if you look really close, like, it's just not, it's not stretched really evenly on here. And that was less due to my skills and more due to the fabric itself was a little like wonky. It was like an end piece, a long skinny end piece, and I think the grain was just a little messed up. And but you know, I don't care because it's a fun, cute little finish. It doesn't need to be perfect. I need a screen grab, guys, so just bear with me for a second. Sometimes those look creepier than I think they do when I go into my video later to grab it. So anyway, this is scrapbook paper, the green and the purple. And this, I got this at Michael's for, you know, $5 or something. I think that's all I got to say about that. That's all I got to say about that. Isn't it cute though? It's cute, right? Unfortunately, I finished this after Halloween, so it'll be displayed next year. Oh, by the way, let's take a little break. I've got one more finish, but let's just talk a little bit about my last video. I had more thumbs down on that video than I usually get. Like several. And I was like, well, I don't really take it super personally like some people have said they do. I really don't, but I'm just sort of like, huh, okay. But like I had like 3 or 4 like immediately and I was like, whoa, hey, what did I do? And all I could think was that I talked about football for like a whole minute and a half. And I think it might have just been too much for some of y'all. I'm sure you're like, I'm here for the cross stitch, not for the football. Or you just really don't like the Chiefs. Like, I can respect that because if I was watching a video and you were like, yay, Broncos, rah, 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 I love the Broncos, I might be tempted to be like, but I don't think I would, but whatever. I don't really care. I just wanted to point that out. I got a lot of thumbs down. And I think it's because I talked about football. Because I don't know what else I did to you, okay? Who hurt you? Like, what is the thumbs down? Like, just move on with your life. Okay, here's my second finish. And it's very simple too. So this is the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I love fall. And I showed you guys the finished stitching. And this is like my fully finish. So super simple. I got this little, look how cute this is. It's a little easel thing. So it stands up. It was from Michael's and it was on like 70% off like Halloween fall clearance. So it was like $3. And this just fit perfectly in there. So I decided to just do it and not even like try to put like homespun or something cute behind it. I kind of like just the simple, the cute, simple little finish. This is 28 count Monaco that IT and Coffee dyed with Priscilla and Chelsea's tutorial. Thanks, ladies. Super easy if you guys want to know about how to tea or coffee dye your own fabric at home, go check out their tutorial. It's really, really simple to follow. The Monaco it took the dye pretty evenly. I've got another piece I'm going to show you in my whips where I got more of like the mottled crazy variegation, and it looks really cool. So anyway, there is my second finish. I was so proud of myself for getting some finishes in. Okay, so then next is whips. So this was, you know, I should back up a little bit. This was Darktober stitching, of course. And the rest of these whips are almost all Darktober wrap up stuff. And then a couple November whips. So my next whip was Barbara Anna Designs Hocus Pocus. And this is actually like a lot smaller than it looks. Once I started stitching it, I was like, oh, it's tiny. So this is actually on 36, this is on a the remnant of this fabric. So it's that 36 count Lakeside Linens Vintage Light Exemplar. And let me tell you, and maybe you'll be able to see what I'm talking about when I say the grain is really jacked up. I don't know, maybe you will, maybe you won't, but it's just not, it's not even. It's look at, it's like, it's stretched kind of this way. It's just very, it's wonky. It's wabi-sabi. Again, I'm not that worried about it, but if this was a really nice piece, I'd be I'd be a little annoyed right now. So anyway, that's where I got on that. And let me think. I'm not doing DMC. It calls for Valdani's, which of course I didn't have on hand. So I substituted random like weeks and DMC variegated and some Anchor variegated, and I just really just kind of picked some colors that I thought, you know, were close or would work for what the pattern called for. Like my red is way brighter, but that's okay. And I mean, look how tiny it is. Look guys, it's like wee. It's so wee. Like I guess in my head it was like this big. And it's actually like this big. But it's cute. And I could have finished it, and I was really tempted. I was really tempted to just keep stitching it and finish it up. Because all I have left to do is like these tombstones in this house, and these bats and this branch. And I've got like all of that done. But duty called. I had more Darktober stitching to get to, so that's what I got on that. And then I got another Barbara Anna because I love Barbara Anna, and I love Barbara Anna Halloween patterns. I love all her Christmas ones too. I really want to do that new one. I think it's called My Dear. I think that's what it's called. Something with a deer. It's so cute. Michelle Bindi Stitchy's doing it. I might break down and eventually buy it. So anyway, the next one was Barbara Anna Rampant Cat Sampler. And this is on 32 count Jobelin that I dyed with the Priscilla and Chelsea method at the same time as I dyed the other. And this one is not, I have yet another one to show you in a minute. I do like this one. It came out darker than I expected. It took more dye than my linen, which I'll show you in a minute. The linen got a nice modeling. The Jobelin took a lot of the dye, but I do like it. So this is, let me back up just so you can see the fabric. And then this is where I got to, and I'm using DMC called fors. So I've got, I started on this tree and this basket. And Elena B is stitching this too. Or is it Olivia? I feel really dumb right now. I can't remember which one of you is which. That's embarrassing. I probably shouldn't have said anything. I'm sorry. I see your face. Which one's Elena? Which one's Olivia? The one that doesn't work in the bakery? That has the amazing dog? Dusty? Oh my God, I wish I could edit. I'd really like to take this out, but I can't, so sorry. I think it's is it Olivia? Or is it Elena? I know you at home are screaming at me right now. I love you both. I love both of your floss tubes a lot. Hey, don't worry. I'm Julie. I have a sister, Jenny, and a sister, Jessica, and a brother, Jeff. And that's far more confusing because we're all J's and we get called each other's names like constantly, you know, growing up. Like Jenny, I mean Jessie, I mean Julie. Ugh. I've even been called Jeff, so, you know. Okay, anyway, so there's that. Wow. That went off the rails real quick, guys. I'm sorry. Here you go. One last look. Let's just focus on the stitching, guys. Focus on the stitching. Okay. All right. So here's my other piece of Priscilla and Chelsea inspired tea and coffee dyed linen. And this is 32 count, and this one is linen. And it came out like a little more, you know, modeled than the other ones. And I love it. It doesn't smell as much anymore as I thought it would. They talk about how they'll pull their stitching out and be like, coffee. But this one, I don't know. I'll catch a whiff now and then, but it's mostly gone. Okay, so I'm stitching the Primitive Hair Freebies. She has released 8. Basically, they're like pagan Wiccan, pagan/Wiccan holidays that occur 8 times of the year. I had started with Mabon, which was in September. This is Letha. No, Llamas. This is like June or something. So I'm going to get it next go round because I started with this one. So the next holiday was Samhain, which is Halloween. And that's what it looks like. And the way I decided to stitch these is I'm actually going to stitch them in a circle, which is a wheel, because this is the pagan holiday calendar year is called a wheel. And so I want to actually stitch mine in a wheel. And then I want to come up with something like some kind of center motif to kind of tie it all together, and I haven't gotten that far yet. But here is Samhain. And I stitched this with Weeks Dye Works charcoal and Gentle Arts maple, I think it was maple syrup. No, it called for maple syrup. It was picnic basket that I had on hand. And that pumpkin took forever, you guys. 3 days. These should be 1 or 2 day stitches. It took me 3 days. And here's Mabon, the last one I did, which took me 1 day. So there you go. That's what it's. And then the next holiday is Yule, which is near Christmas. It's winter solstice. It's like December 21st. It's going to go right here. And then the next one, and you know, it's going to be a wheel. So I'll finish that in like June of 2019 because I'm just stitching them as the holidays come. They're quick, simple stitches. I could certainly like make an attempt to just stitch all of them like at once, or I mean not at once, but over several days to weeks. But it's more fun to do it as the holiday falls. This was all started for me by Amy, who is Amy Tuville on YouTube or Flosstube and Instagram. And she has a group on Facebook called The Stitchers Coven, which is amazing, and you should go join it if you're not a loser or a drama queen or really annoying about stitching or super judgy, or like if you're just, as long as you're a good, decent, cool person, okay? Come join us. It's not my group. I shouldn't really say who can and can't join. We just don't want jerks in there, okay? We are very positive. We have a good time. It's a fun group, and we just don't want anybody to come in and like screw up the vibe, okay? So like if you're a cool person, and cool is relative, if you're a nice person, especially if you're into like dark, gothic, witchy stuff, you don't have to be, but if you're into that stuff, you will really like this group. Okay, so anyway, the point is, wow, I am so rambly. Amy is stitching all of these primitive hair freebies on the holidays as well. And so she's hosting basically like a Sal of this. And it's called Sabbat Sal, SABBAT-SAL. If you want to hashtag and join in on Instagram, or if you want to go look at everybody else's progress who's been participating, go check it out. All right, so then I did my Stitch piece. I think I showed you guys this in my last video. I don't think this is a new start. I think I had started it in my last video. But this was definitely an impulse start as well. I did Stitch last year. It's actually right here. This was last year's Stitch. So Stitch is fun. It's like it gets released in little chunks every week, and it's not till the very end that you start to kind of figure out and decipher what it is. They release really random parts. Like the first part might be like half of this flower and like this letter and this letter. So it's just very random, and you don't really know what it says at first. So last year, this is what it ended up being. And then this part right here was like a choose your own adventure. So they gave you like 8 options, or you could make your own. So one was like, as for me and my house, we shall serve the king in the north. And it showed us House Stark sigil from Game of Thrones. One said, we shall serve Dumbledore's army. So, I actually picked this one myself. I did not use one of theirs. Let's talk about Queen for a second, you guys. This is Clouds Factory Freddie Mercury pattern. I wasn't going to talk about this just because I wanted to focus on stitching, but I got to say it. Go see Bohemian Rhapsody. Go see it. Any of you who already saw it know what I'm talking about. You're all going, yeah, it was good. Go see it. It was so good, you guys. It was so good. I saw it in IMAX opening night. The sound was incredible. It was awesome. You are probably hearing from friends and family that it's amazing and awesome, but critics are kind of being really harsh. So like on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got like a 60% critics rating, but the audience rating is like 96%. Okay, because we, the moviegoers, are having a blast and love it. The critics are like, it's too superficial. It doesn't talk enough about AIDS. It doesn't talk enough about him being gay or whatever. Go watch it. It's fun. It's basically like you're at a Queen concert for the whole movie. Okay, so anyway, I just want to say that movie was amazing. I love Queen. I love Freddie Mercury. I love Adam Lambert, who has been filling in and touring with Queen, and because Freddie's not here with us anymore, obviously. That was a tangent. Yes, I know. Go see the movie, and if Queen comes through your city on tour, go see them, you guys. Oh my gosh. I've seen them twice. It was worth it both times. So here's the stitch for this year. And so like I said, you just get these little tidbits and you don't know at the end, like, what is it gonna be? I am on part 3 and part 6 comes out this Saturday. So I'm behind. I need to finish part 3 and then I need to do part 4 and part 5. I have no guesses as to what this will be. That's another part of the fun, is that you try to guess what it is, and people post their crazy guesses and it's hilarious sometimes. I have no guesses. Okay. Oh, so this was my other part of my haul. This was the pattern I bought on total impulse. Okay, so here's what happened. Last Saturday, I was just scrolling around on Instagram, as you do, looking at all the cross stitch. And I came across someone who was stitching this, and I had already like looked at this pattern several times and been like, so cute. No, I'm not gonna do it. I don't need to join another Sal. Nope. And then I'd see it again. I'm like, oh, it's so cute. Nope. I don't need to do it. So I'm on Instagram and I see it, and it was just like, okay, fine. You got me. You got me, tiny modernists. You got me. This is the Santa's house, Sal. They just today released room 3. So room 1 and 2 and 3 are released. I'm still working on this border-ish. It's not a border, but you know what I mean. Like, whatever. I joined late, okay? So I'm very behind. This is 28 count hand-dyed Monaco. It's been double dyed. I dyed it, first I dyed it and I hated how it turned out. So then I threw it in with the tea and coffee dye. Wow, I didn't realize I was stitching on like all of the linen I dyed. Anyway, so I re-dyed it and it was satisfactory, but I didn't love it. I mean, I still don't love it, but it was like, okay, at least now I think I can use it. And so I decided to use it for this piece because this is going to be, it's not full coverage, but it's a lot of coverage. So I thought that'll be perfect. It'll cover up any like splotchy bits that I don't love. So this is like what the linen looks like overall. And I don't know if you can tell, it's a little like stripy. But again, this stitching will cover most of that up. So I just stitched my little heart out on this for like 5 or 6 days. I don't know. And this is how far I got. It's so cute. And I was like so proud of myself for how far I came. And then I was like, oh my God, I still have so much to do. Like I only did this and this. It's like, I still got to do this, and then this, and then this, and then all this, and then all this, and then all this. And then, you know, the little rims. The little rims won't actually probably take as long. They're a lot simpler. I gotta admit, I'm kind of losing steam. I mean, it's super cute. It's super fun. I think I can't see any way of getting caught up, and so I'm losing some steam because of that. I really like it on this fabric. I do enjoy stitching it. It's just, I wish I just bit the bullet and started it like at the beginning, because then I think I might be caught up and that would be exciting. Anyway, I got suckered into that one. Okay, and then this is my final whip. So last year, I started this project, and I said, I'm going to stitch on this every time it snows. So it's Mirabilia Snow Queen. I treated myself to this pattern and fabric and bead kit on Black Friday last year. And I said, every time it snows, I'm getting out Snow Queen. And that was a noble thought, But what happened is I got really into like my 12 starts of Christmas and into Christmas stitching. And then I had other stuff I like had to do, I had to work on. And what would happen is it would snow and I'd be like, I can't work on it right now. I gotta get this other thing done. And so I really didn't follow through on what I had said. But I think this year I'm going to. So it snowed here yesterday. So I pulled this baby out. And I think I got a ton done. Oh, this fabric is Polywog Princess by Hand Dyed by Stephanie, and I love it. Scrumptious. All right, so last time I worked, so where I started was I had the white done, and I had like this tiny like row done. So I did all of this yesterday. It really goes faster than you expect, especially now that I'm getting into some blocks of color. Like this was all one color. I'm getting into some chunks of color. When I was right here, it was going a little slow because of all the color changes. So where I'm at in the pattern is this saddle. Basically, I'm stitching the saddle right now. It's really nice to stitch. It really is. And again, I worked on this yesterday. It was Sunday. It snowed all day. It like started snowing in the middle of the night Saturday. Like when we went to bed, it was not snowing. It snowed all night. It snowed all day. It was gorgeous. Being in Colorado, especially Boulder, the thing is the snow melts like the next day pretty much. So we still have some snow, but a lot of it's gone. But it did actually snow all of this morning as well. It stopped like mid-morning. So I'm going to work on this again after I finish this video. I'm going to put a second day in it because it snowed today. So I'm going to work on that every time it snows, if possible, if feasible. I know I don't want to be too strict on myself, but I'm going to try to work on this every time it snows. And so that kind of brings me to plans and what I'm hoping to do the rest of this year and next year. I've been thinking about this a lot. I think I've been very restricted by certain things, like by Stitch Mania when I did 50 new starts. That was very restrictive. There were so many things I wanted to work on that I couldn't because I had to do a new start every day. That also made my whip count outrageous. I did 12 starts of Christmas last year. That was very restrictive. I did Darktober, only Halloween stitching. Like I've been feeling restricted for sure. My plan had been when I finished Darktober stitching, I was gonna stitch November, autumn kind of stuff for all of November and then start Christmas stitching in December. And November 1st rolled around and I was like, I cannot do it. I don't want to stitch any of these right now. None of these are calling to me. I don't want to. And so I bought the Tiny Modernist Santa's House and started that because it was calling to me. So yeah, so I'm not doing Thanksgiving stitching basically. I've already kind of sailed into Christmas and that's fine because I'm in the mood for Christmas stitching. So the rest of the year, I think that's probably what I'll be doing is mostly Christmas stitching as it calls to me. And then for next year, so like I said, I've been thinking about this a lot. A lot of people are talking about doing no new starts in 2019. And I just, being honest with myself, I know that would not work for me. Like some amazing pattern's gonna come out in January or February or March or all of those months. And I'm gonna be like, I want to start it. I want it. So, I mean, I'm just realistic. There's no way I can go a whole year without a start. There's no way. That said, I want to chip away at my whips and I want to make progress. But stitching, the joy of stitching for me includes starting new amazing projects and being really excited about it. So I'm not going to eliminate that. So I kept going back and forth like, okay, what can I do? I'm not going to do no new starts. I was like, maybe I'll do, you're allowed 1 start a month. So that would only be 12 starts for the year. And then I thought, okay, or maybe I have to finish something for everything I start. And then I thought, well, that's not going to help me with my whip count. I'm just going to stay the same if I do that. So what I finally decided was 2 finishes before you can have 1 start. So basically like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Or 2 for 1. Maybe that'll be like my hashtag, 2 for 1. So I got to finish 2 things before I can start something new. And then I'm not limited. If I finish like 6 things one month, I can have 3 starts if I want, or I can save those starts and use them later when I'm not having finishes. But either way, I'm going to focus on finishing. I need to get my whip count down. I'm almost at 100 whips and I don't want to cross. I'm not crossing that line. I'm not. But I really want to chip away. And so that is my plan. 2 finishes for every 1 start. And I have a couple little caveats. So my primitive hair Sabbath Sal, I'm not going to count this because these are usually 1 day, maybe 2 days. And I do want to hit them on all the holidays. So this is just its own thing. I'm not going to count this as like a new start or like that I have to have 2 finishes. I'm also not going to count each one of these as a finish, although they kind of are finishes. That I think that would inflate my finish count. So since I'm not counting it as new starts, I'm not going to count it as finishes. So that's one little like caveat. What else? I'm looking at my notes because I actually wrote notes about this. So the other thing is I don't want to fall into the trap of only pulling out like my little whips, right? Like only pulling out little things like this that I know I can get done really quick. Now, I do want to work on stuff like this. I do want to get this done. I do want to chip away at it, and I will. But I don't want to neglect those big projects because I'm sitting there going, oh, well, that's not going to be a finish. I'd have to work on that for 4 months before that's a finish. So I still want to like touch those projects. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have like 1 day dedicated, 1 day a week where I have to work on a chatelaine or a big project, like a big full coverage, like big thing. Or even it doesn't have to be full coverage, but like a big project, something where there's no finish in sight, but just to chip away. So that's a rule I'm setting for myself. 1 day a week, you got to work on a big project, preferably a chatelaine, because I have 2 chatelaines that I started in January of this year that I have not touched. So it's going on a year. I have another chatelaine I started the summer of 2017. It's been almost a year and a half since I've touched that thing. That's ridiculous. So I'm going to focus on those projects. I'm also going to focus on my older projects, regardless of whether they're close to a finish or not. I want to kind of focus on some of those like projects that have been sitting around a long time. So those are my plans. Things could change dramatically, who knows, but those are my plans right now. Definitely not doing Stitch Mania in the traditional sense. I'm not doing 30 starts or 15 starts or anything like that. I think if I participate in Stitch Mania, what I'm going to do is pull out the projects that I started last year and work on those on the days I started them. Something like that. That said, I have no new start restrictions for the remainder of this year. But like I said, I'm super close to 100 and I don't want to get there. So, but one thing I will be starting before the week is out, and this is my last thing to show you. Amy DeVille, the Stitcher's Coven, is hosting or co-hosting, I believe, a Dimensions Sal. So in her last Flosstube, she talked about her Dimensions kits and how she's been neglecting them, and that she's made a pact with another friend. They're going to stitch on their Dimensions, and they're going to start on November 15th, and I think it's hashtag TCS TSC Dimensions. I'm not really clear on that actually. It's a Dimensions Sal. Starts November 15th, and I'm finally gonna pull out this one. What is it called? Aurora Cabin. Bought it almost 2 years ago. Never been opened. Because it's one of those big, huge projects. It's intimidating. So I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna start it. Today's the 12th. I'm gonna start this on the 15th. If you have a Dimensions kit, join us. It doesn't have to be a new start either. If you have one, like Amy said, how many of us have started those Dimensions stockings? And you might have one that's 8 years in your WIP pile. Pull it out and work on it. Let's work on these dimensions. Okay, guys, that's all I have. I am sorry. I know this was rambly and weird. Really weird. I'm pretty sure it's Olivia B. Elena B is the baker, right? Right? I'm sorry. Okay, seriously though, I'm leaving now. I'm gonna go stitch on Snow Queen, and I'm really excited. All right, any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. I'm happy to respond. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you hopefully soon. Bye.